Lieutenant.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished panel members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address you today for your dedication to ensuring fairness and equity and integrity in our military justice system. In December of 2019, I was honored to be selected for promotion to Chief Master Sergeant, the pinnacle of my career. Just 2 weeks later, my life unraveled when a third party came forward with allegations claiming that in front of 500 people, I had inappropriately touched them. Nearly 5 years earlier at a Turkish spa. This third party wasn't present during the alleged event, and the person she claimed wasn't touched never came forward to file a complaint. In fact, none of the allegations came directly from supposed complainants. All originated from an angry third party and were used to build a manufactured propensity case. By June of 2020, media queries from anonymous sources exacerbated the situation, and my leadership began stripping me of my duties and prioritizing external backlash over ensuring my due process. To be clear, I did not touch anyone inappropriately. The investigation itself revealed inconsistent stories. The alleged victim initially claimed I touched her leg, then later on changed to me grazing her genitals. She also claimed others saw the touching, but that was false, as 5 witnesses present all testified that they didn't see or hear anything that would lead them to believe that inappropriate touching had occurred. To add more context, she continued to babysit my daughter at my home even after the alleged events, which speaks volumes to the kind of unusualness of these allegations. Despite the lack of evidence, in August of 2020, I faced a special court-martial. I was convicted of abusive sexual contact and received a 1-rank demotion and no punitive discharge. Following the trial, an unnamed government official was quoted in the news saying, based on the evidence they had, they did the most they could with this, acknowledging there was no physical evidence and no witnesses corroborate the allegation. Another troubling aspect was the composition of the panel. The group consisted of 5 women and 3 men, and 3 men and 1 man were ultimately selected. Now, while I can't prove the Air Force is structured, the panel to ensure a conviction to disproportionate gender representation raises questions. Frustrated with the entire process, I sought to retire immediately, but my retirement request was conveniently never routed for approval. Instead, I was forced into a discharge board. The hurried nature of the proceedings forced me to fire my military attorney, and a legal advisor later determined my due process rights had been violated. My immediate command testified that social media and news coverage played a role in their decision making. Despite these violations, the discharge board found in my favor and ruled to retain me. Yet my efforts to retire were further delayed as the Air Force sought to circumvent regulations and find unconventional ways to remove me. After sitting at home for over 18 months without duties, the Secretary of the Air Force finally accepted my retirement, but punitively took another strike, effectively imposing a harsher punishment than the court-martial deemed appropriate. The Secretary of the Air Force issued a press release detailing his decision and explained that he was convinced of my guilt. It was immediately circulated across national publications and social media while my Article 69 appeal was still pending before the Air Force Court of Criminal Appeals. The Secretary's statement doubled down on the then Undersecretary of the Air Force's social media posts about my case. The national media also covered these posts. The Undersecretary publicly stated that I should not remain in the Air Force. Both the Secretary and the Undersecretary have the authority to end the careers of these judges. Given the public statements by senior leaders at every step in the ad hoc handling of my case, how can anyone believe the Air Force Judge Advocate General or the Air Force Court of Criminal Appeal judges could be impartial? If this isn't unlawful command influence, then what is? Since the trial, I was forced to register as a sex offender and was barred from entering debates. Though I was later removed from the registry, the emotional toll was irreversible. I missed significant family experiences, including my children's school events, and I received violent threats at my home. The cumulative scars from this ordeal caused more PTSD than all the years I spent on the ground as a combat photographer in the Middle East. Now, what I hope happens in the future. The version of the Article 69 in place during my court-martial was unfair and sent my appeal to TJAG, a 3-star general. When the TJAG denied me of relief, the system then expected 05 and 06 judges to reverse their decision and overrule him. That highlights just how flawed the process was. This panel recognized those issues and recommended changes. Now, every service member receives a full Article 66 review. However, for cases like mine, the panel should consider a look-back period allowing them to apply for the same full review. Even though my punishment was only a 1-strike reduction, the consequences of a court-martial conviction are lifelong. Service members like me deserve the same chance to challenge our convictions that every service member today gets. It's only fair. And the military must increase transparency and procedural protections for accused service members, especially in high-profile cases where media attention and command influence can distort fairness. Most importantly, an independent third party is crucial for reviewing convictions and preventing unwarranted prosecutions in the first place. Serious offenses should be referred to a court martial only after review by a body, ideally civilian, functional like a grand jury. This step would be help restore confidence in military justice. And I'll wrap here. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. I've remained quiet for years, but I won't anymore because I've been disappointed by the lack of independent review of my case free of UCI. I stand ready to assist in any way that I can to help prevent this from happening to others, from the same people, the same injustices that I dealt with in a broken system. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.